Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Freeze TV. I am Michael, your host, and I apologize for the lack of uploads lately. I have been extremely busy with work, but today I felt compelled to do a video. As many of you know, the current state of the nation, it's delicate, we'll call it. You have peaceful protesters burning down neighborhoods, burning down buildings, killing police officers, injuring police horses, and apparently that's okay. We're going to dive into that. But first I want to say that if this is your first time to the channel, please hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon for all notifications so you get updated when I upload a new video. I would really appreciate that. Also, if you find this video enjoyable, hit that thumbs up button. It really helps me out. I am still a small channel, so my content is not monetized. Okay, I still do this because I enjoy it. Now, as hopefully everybody is aware, a while back there was a man, I believe his name was George Floyd. I could be wrong. I really haven't delved too much into that. Like I said, I've been busy with work and I really haven't gotten a chance to explore why all of this is happening. So apparently, like I was saying, a black man, I believe his name was George Floyd, was killed while in police custody. From my understanding, the police officer had his knee on the man's throat. The man was saying he couldn't breathe, and he later died from those actions. Now, because of that, we have the resurgence of everybody's favorite snowflake retards, Antifa and Black Lives Matter. Now, we haven't heard from either group in a couple years. I've been keeping tabs and we just haven't heard from them. All of a sudden, now we do. Now, what I'm going to do in this episode is I'm going to hit you with a little bit of logic and a little bit of reasoning, and I want you to make your own determination as to what is going on. All right, so after the unfortunate death of George Floyd, there were protests in the cities against the police. Now, you know what? This I can understand. Wrongful death. You want your voice heard. You want to try to make a difference. That's fine. Nobody is saying that you cannot do that. However, once you cross the threshold of marching with picket signs to burning down buildings, attacking police, blocking the roads, and other violent acts, it's no longer a protest. It's called a riot. It's called civil unrest, civil disobedience, okay? Now, am I opposed to civil disobedience? Of course not. I am not opposed to civil disobedience, okay? It's like one of the cornerstones of my personality. Question everything, okay? Question everything that the government tells you, all right? Now, while I am a Trump supporter, I don't believe everything the man says, okay? Because now he's a politician. Even though he's a businessman, he's a politician. He's sitting in the White House. Okay? But here's where reasoning and logic comes in, okay? if you look at the cities that these riots, we're just going to call them what they are. If you look at the cities where these riots are happening, Dallas, San Antonio, Los Angeles, I think Philadelphia, Chicago, where any place where these riots are happening, there's one constant, okay? Pallets of bricks have been placed around these cities in strategic spots where the protesting is the worst. Okay, and that just gives these protesters ammunition to go grab bricks and throw them. Okay, I mean, a police horse was brained with a brick. Now, what has that horse ever done to anybody? Okay, did that horse arrest anybody? Has that horse been a contributing factor into the death of anybody? No. Okay, the horse is an animal. Plain and simple. He's an animal. Alright? And recently with President Trump calling these protesters thugs, everybody losing their minds over that. Well, they are thugs, okay? They are causing civil disobedience, civil unrest, violence, property destruction, and death, okay? I believe just the other day, a police captain doing his job was shot and killed by protesters. Old people have been beaten to death by these protesters. I even read a story where, protesters set fire to a building and then blocked the fire department from putting the fire out. And there was a baby in that building. And as you can imagine, that baby died. Okay, what if this was a black baby? They're just guilty of murdering somebody that they were trying to protect. There's your logic. These people don't think. All right, these protests may have started out as protests against the police officers who unfortunately did kill this man. Okay, but they've gone beyond that. They're no longer about that issue. What they're about now is to get Donald Trump out of office. That's all they're about. And I'm going to delve into that in just a second. Okay. Even the victim's family said that, he wouldn't have wanted this. He wouldn't have wanted riots and violence in the streets. Okay? So, it's no longer about him. It might have been about him for the first few days, maybe the first week. But now it's not about that. Okay? And a recent update on this case, all 4 officers that were involved in this man's death have been charged with second-degree murder. Okay? Which, perfect. They did something bad. They should be punished for it. Okay? They've been arrested. They've been charged. They're going to go to trial. And if found guilty by a jury of their peers, I am all for them going to prison for it. Okay? I'm not saying that I'm not. I'm not saying that, these guys should get off. I'm just saying that let a court of law decide what their punishment should be. Okay? Now, this is my theory about these recent civil unrest moments in the country. Because one thing you don't hear about anymore in the news, probably as much, if at all, is COVID-19. You don't hear about it. Now, some states are still fanatical about COVID-19. Right now, I am sitting in New Mexico, and in New Mexico, it is law required that you wear a face covering when in public, so I've actually had to buy a mask. Okay? And I've not tried it on yet, so if you'll indulge me just one moment, I want to put this on. Just because face covering now. And it's an American flag, which I really like. So, on with the show. But first, take that off. Okay. So anyway, what I was saying is you don't hear about COVID-19 much anymore, okay? Because the government finally found out that they couldn't control the American people with COVID-19. Okay? They just couldn't do it. People got tired of the stay-at-home orders, they got tired of the quarantine order, and they started venturing out, saying, to hell with this, we can't be locked up all the time. So the government found out that, the Democrats, not the government, the Democrats and the left found out that they couldn't control the American public with COVID-19. So they had to come up with something else, okay? Hence, now we have a black man being killed while in custody of white police officers. And the country has gone to hell in a handcart. Now, on the flip side, if it would have been a black officer that accidentally, that killed a white prisoner, you would have heard about it on the news, but that'd have been the end of it. Okay? There wouldn't be all this civil unrest going on right now. Because why? It was just a white man that was killed by a black cop. Okay? So my theory about this whole thing is, since the government couldn't control us with COVID-19, I think that the Democrats, the left, or whoever got to these police officers, they paid them off, they had dirt on them, they blackmailed them, threatened them, something. Somehow the Democrats got to these police officers. And then we had the death of George Floyd. Okay? Now, my opinion is these guys will go to trial, but they will all be acquitted. Okay? They will all be acquitted, not because they are, particularly innocent, but because the Democrats don't need a scapegoat. They just needed a catalyst to push their agenda for civil unrest, because they just want Trump out. They don't give a damn about anything else. That's the only thing on their mind, is get Trump out of office. Okay. So now we have the unfortunate death of a black man at the hands of white officers, and we have riots. Okay? Everybody knows that the police have been charged for it. The 4 men have been charged for second-degree murder. They're going to go to trial. Okay? So we might see the riots die down a little bit. Okay? But after the trial, I will bet apples to oranges that those officers are going to be acquitted of this crime. Okay? And guess what's going to happen after that? The left is going to lose their minds, but it's all been planned. Okay? And they're only going to lose their minds for show, and then we're going to have more riots because these white officers were acquitted of killing a black prisoner. Kind of reminiscent of another situation back in the 90s. Rodney King, remember that? Okay, what happened after those officers were acquitted? There were more riots. Devastating riots. So, in my opinion, these officers are going to get acquitted, and we're going to have more riots. Okay? Come November, at the election, when Donald Trump gets reelected, we're going to have more civil unrest because people don't, the Democrats don't want Trump in office. So there's going to be more civil unrest, there's going to be more riots, and then the Democrats are going to propose more articles of impeachment for President Trump just to try to get him out, because they hate him more than they love America. Which honestly I think is truly very sad. Okay? That their own agenda is trumping what's best for the nation. Okay? And everybody says that, Donald Trump's racist, and all this. Whatever. Okay? Just because I got me a fade and lost my hair, they can say that I'm a white supremacist. Okay, I've got a rebel flag tattoo. They can say I'm a white supremacist. I'm the furthest thing from it. I have no problems with black, brown, yellow. I got no problem with anybody. Okay? But they just want Trump out so bad that they'll stop at nothing to do it, even cause the death of an innocent man. Now, am I saying this was right? No, I'm not saying it was right. I'm saying it was a horrible tragedy. This man should not have died to further the Democratic cause. Okay? I'm simply saying that, are there bad officers? Yes, there's bad officers. I've run into them. Okay, not to the point where I've been beaten or killed or anything, obviously. But there are bad officers and there's good officers. Okay? I worked in the prison system. Okay, in Texas for a year. I worked the juvenile correction system in Texas for 5 years. Okay, there's good and bad officers everywhere, just like there's good and bad employees everywhere. I mean, have any of y'all ever gone into a fast food restaurant and you just had that one cashier or waiter that was just a dick? Okay, I'm not saying that that doesn't happen. Okay, I'm saying, one, we need to vet these officers a little bit better. You know, I'm saying maybe we need more training to keep things like this from happening. Okay, but another thing that kind of irks me is I've not seen the video of this unfortunate death, so I can't speak to what happened. Okay, now I have been trained. Because I have worked in corrections, I have been trained in paying compliance, okay, and defending myself. So I would have to see the video, because no one's ever said, was he still fighting the officer? Okay, I've had to restrain people that have been handcuffed, and they still pose a threat. You know, just because you're in handcuffs doesn't mean you're not a threat. Okay, they can still pose a threat. All right, but I think the thing that bothers me the most about this whole incident is after this poor man unfortunately died, nobody jumped up and said, "Oh my God, this is a tragedy." You know, a man was killed in police custody. What a tragedy. They automatically jump to, "Oh my God, these cops are racists." You know. They want to jump to racism right off the bat. And to the black community, any black people that might be watching this, I would like y'all to go back into history and look up the history of the Democratic Party, the party that you're clinging to so vehemently. Okay? The Democrats did not vote to free the slaves. They did not vote to give them the right to vote. They didn't vote to grant them citizenship. They didn't do nothing for the black community after the Civil War. It was all Republicans that voted for this. Okay, LBJ, the president after John F. Kennedy was assassinated, he's the one that instituted welfare and told these black families that he would give them money if there was no man at home. Hence the spike in single mother homes in the black community. The very first motion picture viewed in the White House was called The Birth of a Nation, also known as The Klansman, and it was shown to a Democratic president. Okay? Now this is an actual quote from Lyndon Baines Johnson when I believe it was after he instituted welfare. Okay, this is an actual quote. You can look it up. Okay, I did. And LBJ is quoted as saying, and this is him saying it, not me. I don't condone this kind of language. You know, disclaimer. I do not condone this kind of language on my channel, but I'm just quoting LBJ. He said, "I'll have those niggers voting Democrat for 200 years." That's a direct quote from your fantastic Democratic Party. All right, cities like Chicago, Detroit, Detroit, Michigan, Both of them have been run by Democrats for almost half a century. And they're shitholes. I've been to Detroit. It's a shithole. Chicago has the strictest gun laws in the nation, but they also have one of the highest, if not the highest, murder rates in the country. So think about that. I'm not telling you to vote Democrat. I'm not telling you to vote Republican. I swing both ways, okay? I'm bipolitical, okay? I vote for the candidate that has the best plan for the country, okay? I was a big fan of Reagan. I'm a big fan of Trump. And you know what? When there's a Democrat candidate that'll come along and has better ideas for the country than a Republican candidate, I'll vote for the Democrat. Okay? I could care less about a person's political affiliation. I care about what they're going to do for my country. So what I'm asking everybody to do that sees this, use your brain. Don't let the media control you. Don't let the media tell you what's right and what's wrong. You know, there's so much bullshit going on nowadays that nobody knows which way's up anymore. Okay? Think about this too, okay? I'm an okay dude. Okay, I joke around, I cut up. You can ask my wife. I crack jokes 24/7 when I'm at home. Okay, I have a beautiful wife. I have 2 beautiful children. Okay, I work hard for everything I do. I'm a family man. I'm also a truck driver. I am part of a brotherhood that delivers your goods, your food, your phones. Anything you buy, it's bought by a truck. You know, it's brought to you by a truck driver. I've got to go into the LA area tonight. Why should I or people like me have to worry about rioters when we're just trying to provide a living for our families? The same with police officers. They're not out to fucking kill anybody. They're there to do a job. They're there to protect you. They're there to serve the community. The same with paramedics and firefighters. They are there to do a job. Because you know what? Without them, this country would be anarchy. Which I know that's what some people want. Okay, but when the shit really hits the fan, what happens? Oh my God, where's the police? So just think about it a little bit, okay? Even this poor victim's family said that he wouldn't have wanted these riots, which they're not even about him anymore. All right, so wise up and think about what you're doing. How does burning down your own community help your community in any way, shape, or form? You're burning down low-income housing units. Now you ain't got no place to live. You're burning down your own cities. And then here's another little fact that some people don't know about. Okay, a lot of these people that are protesting, they don't even live in the city that's being protested in. They are being brought in by Democrats to cause civil unrest. Slavery's over. There is no slavery in the United States anymore. Okay? It doesn't happen. Ain't nobody alive today been a slave or owned a slave. Okay? The only reason racism is still around is because the damn Democrats and the left keep bringing it up. I honestly believe that we as a society have evolved past the point of racism. Okay? I look at somebody, I don't see black, I don't see brown, I don't see yellow, I don't see a color. I see a person that's trying to do a job, that's trying to make a living. Okay? It's the same with anything nowadays. It doesn't exist except in the minds of Democrats. And they want to keep this garbage at the surface so that society blows up and they can get their own way put into practice. Think about it. It doesn't happen anymore. Are there still racist organizations? Yes, there are. But not just white racist organizations. Yes, there's the Klan and the neo-Nazis, but you've also got Black Lives Matter. You've got the Black Panthers. They're just as much racist as anybody else. And like Chris Rock said, black people are more racist than white people because black people hate black people too. Case in point, black people hate Candace Owens. Black people hate Terrence K. Williams. Black people hate Dr. Ben Carson. They hate him. Why? Because they don't agree with him. And just because I may not agree with you doesn't mean I'm a fascist. It doesn't mean I'm a racist. It just means I have a different opinion than you. So please think about that. And you know what? I know this is a little bit off for my channel, but let's just come together as one race, as the human race, and stop this violence that is engulfing our country. Let's make our country stronger for everybody. Let's make it stronger and better for everybody. But that's all I have for today. I want to thank you for joining me this far. I know it's a long video, but like I said in the beginning of the video, smash the subscribe button and turn on the bell notifications to all. And you know what? Hit that like button. Also share this video. Share it on any social media platform. Email it to people. I don't care. The most important thing is to get this information out to everybody so that maybe, you know, a little seed of logic will be planted, and they'll start looking at all these different things and realize that they're being played as puppets. But anyway, I'm Michael, your host. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.